Welcome all to the Weekly Outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. Please hit the like button, share and subscribe if you get anything out of these videos. And of course, you can always leave a comment. Starting with the DXY on the daily, as per usual. I'm looking at this as an A, a B, and we get a C down here, and then we get the A, B, C. Possibly down to this 100 fib. Like I've been mentioning for a long time, I've left my count like this, but I've been mentioning this for a long time. We're looking at the lower time frames to possibly come up and break this top. Even if this top here gets broken, I'll still be looking at all this as a B wave, and we get an A, B, C. The H4, we got all this is looking rather corrective. We got the 5 down in here, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Possibly finishing off that correction, a complex correction, 3, 3, 5, before we get 3, 5, 3, and another 5 down. But it's become even more complex. We may have some sort of a flat in here for an A, B, C. And like I mentioned, it may go up and break that top. It may not. Yeah. We'll see how far this goes above here. And on the H1, well, last week we were looking at this here for upside. It still looked bullish. I said be careful because we had that bearish divergence there. It's gone up and broken that top, and now we have even more bearish divergence. So, you know, it's not really the time to be looking for buys, that's for sure. I would be looking for a sell. Yeah, because we sort of got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up now with that bearish divergence. If we get a nice impulse down and a bearish setup, well, you can look for at least a C down, and then you may get more upside, or it falls over on you. So after these 5 up, I'd be looking for at least an A, B, C. Wherever this finishes, if it gives you a bearish correction, you definitely could look for at least an A, B, C down next week. And then I'd be possibly looking for a buy or looking to add in a wave 5. Sell. Nothing's changed on the AU, on the daily. I'm still looking for this C up in here. And this is all corrective. So more than likely, after this C up, we'll get another one down in here. And we get some sort of an A. All this is a B, and then we get this C up. If you've been following me for a while, you would have known that I was looking for this C up here. It never went up and broke that ending point of wave A. This is still looking rather bullish here on the price action on the daily. H4, we got the 5 up. And I'm looking for this larger correction here. We don't actually have bullish divergence in here. We got a nice impulse up if I go down to the H1. We got a nice impulse up in here. I was just looking for that correction like I mentioned last week, but instead we got that very deep pullback down in here. So like I said last week, we get an A, a B, and a C, and then we get the correction. And we more than likely get another one up in here. And then we get an A, B, C in here as some sort of a flat before we get like an A, B, C. A longer drawn out correction before we get another 5 up. So I think it's going to be difficult to trade. You're more than likely, well, it's not really advisable. It's not the way I teach people to trade. But you could look for an A, B, C here. More than likely it'll go and just break that top. But you definitely want to be getting at break even at the break of this top here. You'll be getting in on the lower time frames. It's just a scalp pretty much. And all this will be because I think this is all long drawn out, and it's going to take quite a while before this correction actually finishes by the look of the price action currently. The reason I say that is because we got an impulse up and a very deep impulse down back to the 90 fib. So whatever's happening in here is corrective, and I won't go into it any more than that. GU on the daily, looking at this C up, still am. Again, if you've been following me for a while, I was looking for that A, B, and get a C up here. Instead, we got this A, and we got this expanding flat in here, and I'm looking for that C up now. And this is the A, and then we get like an A, B, C in here before we get the A, B, C. I haven't changed my count yet because this may be an extended wave, and we get 5 up in here in the C wave. So I haven't changed my count yet, but I've been explaining this week after week for months now. H4, we got the 5 up, and this was a sell here. We got that nice impulse down. This was a sell here to get in that. I'm looking for a correction here. We got 5 up. We get an A, B, C. More than likely it'll turn, more complex, and we get some sort of an A, B, C before we get 5 up, 3 down, and another 5 up. So I dare say, like AU, this is going to be a long drawn out correction in here. You really wanted to be in this sell, from last week. We had that nice impulse down, and we had this correction. It was a very shallow correction, probably only got to the 38.2, but you still wanted to get into that. This is what I teach in my course, how to get in on these high probability trades, and this may even turn motive yet, and get the 5 down as impulse. But at this stage, we are getting bullish divergence. It may, more than likely, it'll become choppy for quite a while yet. Filling in the time factor for that correction. At this stage, you really can't. There's really nothing on it. You'd be in the sell. There's no trade on it at this stage. You're either on the sell or you're not. EU on the daily, I've had this sort of count on here for a long time. For this correction, I was looking for the C up here, but then I was looking at this. This in here on the lower time frame as a possible correction, and we get an A, B, C in here, finishing off the B wave, and then we get the A, B, C before we get the larger A, B, C down before the larger C up. There was opportunity to sell this as well. We got the 5 up in here on the H4, got a nice impulse down. This was quite difficult to get in, but we were getting in on it here on the lower time frames. So now we do have 5 down in here now. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down in here with bullish divergence. We had a bear hidden here. We're looking to sell. This is still looking rather corrective. I'd really like this to break the low. because we have the 5 down in here now, we either get a larger correction and more downside, another 5 down, or this turns motive or impulsive, breaking the top and giving us another 5 up for a 5, 3, well, sorry, like a 5, 3, and another 5 up. But again, like AU and GU, I think this is going to be more drawn out correction in time before we get any upside. And that's if it doesn't come down and break this low, like I mentioned on the daily. You know, this can come down, finishing off this B wave, and this is a flat in here. You know, we get that C down. So at this stage, there really isn't a trade on it. You know, there's nothing on it. That's why, you know, if you want to join my course, you know, we can go over the market every day if you want, you know. And I do trade every day. Well, most days. NU on the daily, I was looking for that A, B, and I'm still looking for that C up. First and second target. I think you've all seen my analysis on it that I put on TradingView, that trade idea, and you know, I'm on it down here, you know, and I'm still on this trade. You know, I'm still looking for that C up. H4, we got the 5 up, like many of the other majors, we got the 5 up on this as well. So again, I'm looking for a larger correction in here. Looking at the current price action, we got a nice impulse down, we got an impulse up. This is looking corrective, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of an A, a B, and a C in here as some sort of a flat before we get 5, 3, 5. Maybe a long drawn out correction. We don't know what sort of correction it's going to be or how long and drawn out it's going to be yet. You're pretty much just scalping at this stage, and you're scalping in a correction, so it's risky. It's not a high probability trade. This is looking bullish, which is perfect. You know, it's more of a sell. Like we got an impulse down, and we get 3 up. If you get 3 up, and then on the lower time frames get some sort of a bearish setup and entry, you can look for at least an A, B, C, and it may turn impulsive on the H1 and give you 5 down. GY on the daily, I'm not looking. You know, we got all this bearish divergence on the daily, like I've mentioned many times. I'm not looking for buys. It's been giving us buy setups, and you can take them, but you know, I'm only looking for the sells. We got all that bearish divergence on the daily. We got all this bearish divergence on the H4. I'm not looking for buys. H1, we got all this bearish divergence on the H1. I'm not looking for buys. I'm only looking for sells. There was, you know, I mean, there were buy opportunities in this. You know, I was looking at this A, B, C here for that flat, you know, and there's buy opportunity for this like A, B, C. If you follow me for a while, it's gone and broken the top now. If you're not in the trade already, you just you're sitting on the sideline waiting for a sell setup, and for that, you know, I'd be looking for whatever happens in here, and wherever it ends, I'd be looking for a nice impulse down and a bearish correction before I look for 5 down. We're right at the top on the daily with bearish divergence. H4, we got bearish divergence. H1, we got bearish divergence. I'm waiting for that sell setup, and I'll be loading up. UY is very similar on the daily to GY, but this one's come up and broken the top. Still looking at this as a B wave, like I've mentioned many times, and then we get an A, B, C. I didn't like this on the H4 there. It didn't give us a nice correction to actually buy this. Well, there was opportunities on the lower time frame. There was a bull hidden in here on the lower time frame, and I'll show you that on the H1. But it never gave us a nice correction. You know, like we got a nice impulse down. I was looking for an A, B, and a C down in here, and then a buy setup to buy for that wave Z or wave 5, whichever way you're looking at that impulsive wave. Instead, you know, you'd be looking at some sort of contracting flat. It's rubbish, really. You know, this is more of a larger correct. Well, it still may. This is more of a larger correction, though. We get an A, B, C before we get another 3 up or 5 up in here. I'm waiting for that correction. Only looking for sells, and I'll be looking for an A, B, C. And even if this is a wave Z or wave 5. I'm still looking for the sell. I'm only looking for the sell. You know, we're starting to get all this bearish divergence. So, you know, even when this top gets broken, I'll still be looking for a sell on the lower time frames, trying to get into that first sell. At this stage, there really isn't much on it. You know, it's just scalping. It's just scalping like this bull hidden was here. You know, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in one of the daily outlooks. Oh, weekly outlooks. It may have been in one of my daily outlooks in the group, but you know, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in here. But we had this like 1, 2, 3, 4. We had that ball hidden in there, and I was looking for that 5 up. It's kept on going. But yeah, if you're not in the trade, you're waiting on the sideline, waiting for a sell. UCAD on the daily, you know, this isn't playing nicely at all. We never got that wave Z up in here like I was looking for. Since then, it's turning into a larger correction. It's direct. There is no clear direction. You know, we've just been going down onto the lower time frames, and really, you know, like there was this trade in here. We were looking for that A, B, C up to that 100 fib, you know, and there was a few opportunities to get in this up to that 100 fib. More than likely you'd be out of that, but I'd be looking for another one up in here to break that top as some sort of like WX, Y, X2 and a Z up as a complex correction. You can see that this is looking rather well. I mean, looking at the current price action, like I've shared in my group, I'm looking at this A, B, C up in here, and then we get an A, B, C. And then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, you know, and we get a flat in the middle here. So, you know, if you were stupid enough, you could scalp this one up in here in the C wave and then the larger C down and then go for that wave Z up, you know. But me, I just leave CAD alone. The Swissy, this is great on the daily, you know. We got this nice impulse down, bounced off that lower trend line. We got that A, B, C with bullish divergence, nice impulse up. Been saying for ages, I'm waiting for this B wave, and then I'll load up for that wave C. Looking for the correction here on the H4, the X2 or wave 4, whichever one you want to look at it. 1, 2, 3, looking for a 4, and we'll trade that wave 5 down. Waiting for this to end. On the H4 for a possible like A, B, C expanding flat or running flat in here before we get that wave Z down. In the meantime, on the H1, it's bullish. You can buy this after a correction. if you get a correction in here, and I mean a correction on the M15, you can look for like maybe a WXY, X2 and a Z up. You could trade that wave Z up. And then if you got a bearish setup, impulse down and a bearish correction, well, then you could look for that wave Z down on the H4. But either way, if you get into the buy, you know, there is a chance that this just takes off, you know, and this flat fails. Yeah. So if we get a nice setup in here, definitely can look for at least a C up, and if you're lucky, you know, it turns impulsive. EG is really, you know, something you really want to keep an eye on. This is turning into a really good possible setup here. Like I mentioned last week, looking at that A, B, extended wave, C down. Like I've mentioned, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, a very choppy wave, Z in here. To finish off this C wave, we got all this bullish divergence, looking for the buyers like have been for a long time. One thing I didn't like about this is on the H4, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, but we lost that bullish divergence. But I still got on this. Can't remember exactly where I got in it, but I'd have to look at my platform. I'm still in it though, I know that. Probably down here somewhere. But anyway, you know, this, we got the 5 down and no bullish divergence. So, you know, this may just turn corrective and give us another 5 down, or it turns motive and takes off. You know, we get that bullish divergence on the daily. You know, the higher the time frame, the more reliable the pattern or indicator. H1 is where it's all happening. You know, we got that bullish divergence, nice impulse up. We got 1, 2, 3 in here, and we got that for this A, B, C. So I'll have a quick look where I am. EG, where am I? Oh no, I'm right down the bottom here. Yeah, I got in right down here. It was just under. It was just under this top here on the lower time frame. So I'm in around here, still in that trade, and I'll keep it in case it does turn motive. But at this stage, I mean, it is looking very corrective. I wouldn't be going selling down at these lows on the daily. You know, it's something that I teach that, you know, to stay out, you know, of risky trades. You know, when you're at the end of a structure on the daily time frame, you're not looking for sells. You know, you're looking for buys. At this stage, there really isn't much on it. We're getting bearish divergence on the H1, so you're pretty much staying out of it if you're not already on it. WTI. Looking at this, we got this nice impulse up, but then we got an impulse down. And I was looking at this as a B wave, and we get an A, B, C down in here. But again, this may turn, and it is. It looks like now we get like this is the correction here, and we get an A, B, C up, like I've mentioned, if you follow me, and then we get an A, B, C, some sort of a flat before we get the A, B, C. So like many of the other majors, you know, we're possibly in a long drawn out correction. H1, it's a buy. Oh, sorry, H4, it's a buy. We don't have any bullish divergence, but we got a nice impulse up. We're waiting for this correction, and then we'll look for that buy. We were looking for this sell, and it come down, broke both targets. Oh, actually, we're looking for that wave Z there. That one didn't quite come down and hit the targets, and then we got this other one up in here. So we got this flat in the middle. We got an A, a B, and a C up. If we got a larger correction before we got that another one down. So I'm just waiting for a nice correction in here. Then I can look for at least like an A, B, C, and it might go up like I showed on the daily, and we get that A, B, and we get a C up in here. Got the bearish divergence on the H1. We're waiting for that correction. If you wanted to, you could look for the sell. There is a sell on it. You know, M15. If you wanted to scalp, you got all that bearish divergence there. Nice impulse down. If you get a bearish setup in here, you know what to do. If you get the sell set up, you take it for at least an ABC down. Gold, looking for that way. Well, we've been waiting for that time factor in here. We got that time factor. I'm looking for that wave Z up. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. We got the time factor, but it's not playing the game. It's very corrective in here. We got those 5 down in there, so that's fine. We got that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. I was looking at that as a B wave, but then we got that 3 down, which was fine. If this had given us a nice impulse up and a correction, well then, you know, we look for that A, B, C instead. This is very corrective. So just like here, we got 5 down, we may get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as an ending diagonal or something like that. You know, we get another 5th one down in here. I mean, you can even look to sell it if if you're desperate enough. You could look for a little correction in there, trade it as a wave 5 down, and then you're looking for that buy setup, you know, for that wave Z. Silver's very similar as well, but on the daily, we're looking for that wave Z, but this one hasn't finished the time factor. We're still waiting for that time factor on this one. Should start removing a few of these fibs. H4, we got the 5 up, and we lost the bearish divergence in this wave Z. So ever since that happened, I've been looking for that larger correction and then another 5 up. If you've been following me long enough, you would have heard me say that quite a few times. Here we have to be very careful. We got a bear hidden, so I'm looking for that. Very similar to gold, you know, we get another lower low here, and then if you get a buy set up, you know, you can look to buy. That may finish off this time factor here that I'm looking at on the daily time factor. So, you know, may just get a slow wave down in here, or may be impulsive. Again, on the H1, you'd be looking at a sell, you know. Well, it's more on the M15, like I showed on the gold, you know. Yeah, on the gold. It's more on the M15, you know. You got that bearish divergence, nice impulse down. You're looking for a correction for at least 3 down. Right? Take a quick look at Bitcoin. This one hasn't gone. It had the time factor. It was looking really good. You know, looking for that like 1, 2, 3, 4, and that 5th one up to the targets. It hasn't gone. It never even broke the ending point of wave Y. This still may be a correction in here as like an expanding flat for another one up in here. But I'm not liking it. You know, you got to be very careful with this now. There was a nice opportunity in here to buy this on the lower time frames, and I did show that at the time in this weekly outlook. And we did get the 5 up on the H4 as well. So this may be just giving us a correction in here, and we get another 5 up, hopefully. You know, that's what I'm sort of looking at this stage. But that's on the H4. this can easily turn into a more complex a correction and give us like impulse down and a correction, another impulse down, 3 down after we got the 5 up, 3, and then we get another 5. So this correction, like many of the others, we may get a correction in here, and that's the way I'll be looking at it. For the buy, we're getting all this bullish divergence, so there's nothing wrong with taking the buy. If you get the opportunity, by that I mean, getting a nice impulse up, a correction, and then a buy setup to buy, S&P 500 got that bearish divergence on the daily, only looking for sells, but again, it has been giving us those buys, I'm looking at this wave Z up. We were looking to buy this wave Z up, and we did buy it up to that first target, and it got to the second target as well, and it's just breached all of the targets, but it's still got it's still got this bearish divergence in here. So I'm looking for downside, and I've actually been watching this all last night, like Friday, for that sell setup, like I showed in the group. I'm not going to share my strategy or anything in this room here, but M15, we got nice impulse down an A, looking at a B, get a C up in here, and then I'm looking for a sell setup to sell for at least a C down. And more than likely this will turn motive because where we are on the daily time frame. And if you haven't already seen my monthly chart, which I've had out on TradingView for years and years, we're in this wave 3. We got this like 1, 2, 3. I'm waiting for this correction, and then look for that wave 5 up. When we get this, and what causes the market to crash, well, what looks to be a crash, but is actually will only be a correction, more than likely be a correction, and we get another one up. But what causes this crash in here is anyone's guess. But if you get a sell set up, and we are getting a sell set up, it hasn't given me an entry yet, but if it gives me the entry for the sell, I'll definitely be on it. I'll leave it there because I've taken a while. The other majors are very similar. So I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.